Welcome back. Now we're going to start loops, and loops, as the name suggests, are used to show repetition. They implement repetition inside a program. There are many ways to do it, primarily two, and they're commonly used to iterate over lists and dictionaries. When they're combined with conditional statements, they solve most of our problems, and you're going to be using them all over the place, so make sure you pay attention to whatever comes next. Now let's practice this in Python. There are two types of loops when it comes to Python. There is a while loop and there is a for loop, and this is probably the same in all languages, and they can both be interchangeably used. One can be used to do the task of the other, but most of the time while loop is used when there is no explicit definition of when it's going to end, right? You're repeating something again and again and again. When is it going to end? You have an idea when it's going to end, but it's not explicitly defined. So let's have a look at it. Let's go with while loop first. And in every loop there is an initial condition. So this is your initial condition. Let's say it's I equals 0, right? So there's an initial condition, and then there's this while keyword, of course. Then there is the statement, and the statement is a boolean, right? And this boolean is telling you when to stop. So I say if I is less than 10, it's almost like an if else, right? If else takes a boolean or converts it into a boolean. It's the same concept here. While is going to take a boolean here, and it's going to say, oh, you're running this loop and you want me to run this as long as this statement is true. As long as this statement is true, while will keep running your code and it will not stop. It will keep running it forever if there is enough memory to do that. And let me show you what this means, right? I'll show you of an infinite loop scenario. Now there's another thing here, right? You set an initial condition. You said while I is less than 10, keep running this while I is less than 10, right? It's almost like English language, as I said. Now I is just equal to 0. So there is an updation scenario too, right, where you have to update this. So what I'm doing here is every time I run this piece of code, something updates. I updates, and then again it checks the loop. So this program, this body of the while loop runs one time again and again, as long as this statement is true. So it runs the first time, and it changes this I value, adds it, and it keeps doing that 10 times. And when it becomes 10, it doesn't run this because, well, 10 is actually not less than 10. 10 is equal to 10. So this will not run, and it will print I 10 times 0 to 9. Let me show you. You see, I is equal to, here you can see I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's weird. Let me run again. As you can see, I is running 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, let's move on to the infinite loop case. What is an infinite loop case? An infinite loop case is when the loop keeps running forever, and you have to avoid that as much as possible because you have limited memory to run the program, and in an infinite loop your program just basically gets stuck and it just keeps running. For example, let's say I pass through here and there's no way for this program to get out. I can print I'm here forever, and this will keep running. You see, I have to use Control-C to get out of this program with keyboard interrupt, otherwise this program would have kept running forever. And you can even see in the task manager that the memory would keep increasing forever, and eventually your computer slows down and you have to turn this off. There is another thing called break, which you can use to break out of a program. Though this is not recommended, but break doesn't care if it is true or false, it just breaks out of the loop. So let me show you. You see, it didn't go into an infinite loop, it just ran first and it saw this break, and break just broke it. You know, it said, I'm getting out of this loop, I don't care if it's true or false. There's another thing called continue, which we'll see later. Because we have not written that level of code that you need to use that, so I'll show you that soon. Now we're gonna go with a for loop. A for loop is mostly used for iteration, and normally if you're using a for loop, you would use this function called range, which gives you, just think of it like a range, right? You're just giving me 10 numbers. This function will give you 10 numbers to go over again and again, and this will, just like a while loop, it will start from the beginning and it will keep going, and this range function defines that. Let me show you. We don't need that, so we're gonna not print anything here. You can see that it starts from 0 and it goes to 9, just like this one. It's almost like that, but there is a catch here. You can do a lot of stuff here with this range function. This range function, of course, it says, well, if you give me 10, I'm gonna give you an iterable, almost like an array, which I'll show you that you can actually do this from 0 to 9. Well, I can do another thing here. I can tell the range function where to start. I can tell it to start from 5. That's the first argument. The first argument tells you, if you're giving it one argument, it will just start from 0. If you're giving it 2 arguments, the first argument tells you where to start from and where to end. And if you're giving it 3 arguments, the third argument is the step. How many steps does it take every time? It can take 1 step by default, but I can even make it take 2 steps, like 5, 7, 9. First it takes 5, then 2 steps 7, then 2 steps 9. And after 10 there is nothing left, right? Now, we can also use this to do more interesting stuff than just printing numbers. Most of the times you're going to be using this to either solve problems or just going over a list of numbers. So let's take a list of numbers, like numbers equals 12, 3, 1, 2, 5, 4, 1, blah, blah, blah. Just take random number of, just like that. Now, what do we do here? We can actually loop over this thing by just typing, well, an instance variable like this one, a simple variable that stores the value. For example, here we have an initial condition variable that I is equal to 0. Similar is here, but Python takes care of all of that, and it just lets you do it yourself. I mean, you don't have to write everything yourself here in Python. So instead of doing this right here, you can just type in, well, for n in numbers, for one number in numbers, keep going, and give me those numbers. Now I can print this and it will work just fine. You can see that it prints all the numbers. I can write a similar program in while loop. Let me show you how I can do that. First I will have to take a condition, I equals 0, then while, and then a condition where I is less than the length of the numbers. What the idea here is that we start from this, the I is the index here. As you know, we can access the list by the index, you know, like, oh, numbers 0, numbers 1, 2. So I can just keep increasing that I until I reach the end. And how do I know I have reached the end? Well, I will become equal to the length of this whole thing, because, for example, if how much is this length, right? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 numbers here. What is the maximum index here? Maximum index is 10, because we start counting from 0, right? So when it becomes 11, we know that we have already traversed the whole, or gone through the whole list of numbers. Now let me show you that it actually works. And of course, another important thing, I plus 1, which means we are changing I every time. As you can see, same result, nothing different, but this is better than this, right? Because you're able to just go through it very easily without all this problem. Now you can also iterate over a dictionary. For example, let's say I take a dictionary like this. I say, well, there's a name, Jackie. There's a state, which is stable, let's say. And there's performance. Let's say I want to go over this dictionary again. If you use just a similar logic, you'll say, well, for a key, or here a number, or I can name this anything. I can say, well, for K in dictionary, I can name this anything, but this has to be the one right here. Uses colon, and I can just do whatever here. I can say, well, print my K dictionary K. So for dictionaries, this will give you the key for that dictionary, and then you would have to use that key to access the dictionary's value right here, this value. So let's print that and see what happens. My bad. You have to use a colon here, and as you can see, Jackie is stable and 0.89. What happens if I just print K? K is just a string. As you can see, this string, and this string, which is the key actually. As I said before, this K is the key in this scenario. So this is how you implement loops in Python. Just remember that we are going to go through all of this when we will be creating our project in the next section. And make sure to just use this stuff yourself. And if you ever get stuck, just ask a question. I'll see you in the next lecture.